Hello, my name is Abram Darnser, and I'm with CM First. And today I'm going to be taking you through a little web client workshop that we put together. This workshop will include your full workspace, your local model, and even the database, everything you'll need to run it. So I'll just be kind of stepping through the things that you'll be doing in this workshop. So just to start off, in our workspace, we have an Apache Derby database running that's included and completely packaged in, so you don't have to do any setup or anything. The only thing you have to do is when you enter Eclipse, is to start the database. And to do that, we're going to click on our Java project for this, which is Traffic Web Java. Right-click it, Apache Derby, and start the database. And once you see this message, the database has been started. And so what we're going to do first is I'm going to actually go ahead and start my Tomcat web server and show you basically what we have at the very beginning of our application. So I've started my server and I'm refreshing my web page. And as you can see here to the left, we have an accordion menu. This is a template that is included in Web Client, and it basically uses the tree view that is included in Plex and just kind of gives it a little more modern look and feel. So, and what we're going to be focusing on is basically this camera function. And this application is set up to use the state of Maryland's traffic cameras. By the time we're done with this application, you'll be able to look at a Google map with the location of the camera. You'll be able to see a live video feed of the camera and also see the Twitter feed of the Maryland traffic group. So just to start out, we have a simple panel being loaded in here, and it's just got a combo box and a grid and a button. That's it. But one thing that's very nice about Web Client is this is just a normal Plex panel. It took no actual changes to any of the objects in Plex to make Web Client generate this panel correctly. All you had to do is add one triple just to inform the Web Client template builder that this is a Web Client function, and we should build the template. So the buttons, the fields, the labels, the column headings, everything is coming directly from Plex along with its placement and size. And so if I just select another item from this drop-down, I'm basically changing the region that I want to see all the cameras for, and it'll automatically filter the grid. Once again, this is pretty standard Plex code, and Web Client interprets that and then runs the Java server code as well. And then I'll hit our Twitter button, which will launch our Twitter function, which doesn't really show much right now, but we are going to fix that later on in the workshop. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add a couple of buttons to this panel. A button to bring up our map viewer screen and our video viewer screen. So to do that, we just need to go into Plex, and we'll grab our grid function, which is this camera grid. And let's open up the panel. And under controls, let's just add a couple of push buttons. And I'll just kind of drag them below the grid just to give it a good little layout. And make the grid a little bit bigger. And so for this button, we'll make it our map button. All we have to do is just give it some text like we would any other button in Plex, and give it an event mapping on the push event. So view map. And same thing goes for the video button as well. As you can see, we're not doing anything out of the ordinary for normal Plex development. And we'll go ahead and save that. And then let's just go and program our events. And we're just going to run these for any selected record in Group P. And I'll be doing the same thing for the map as well, so I'm just going to copy paste some code while I can. And so then we're going to call our map function, which is this Google map right here, and pass in our grid record. And we'll call our video function right here and do the same thing. And then we'll go ahead and generate all three functions. So all you need to do for Web Client is to actually just generate the function Eclipse, and the Web Client Template Builder will take care of all the build process. So once it's generated, we already have the workspace set up to point to our generation folder. And so all we have to do is refresh our Java project to bring the new code into Eclipse. So we'll just refresh, and the build will take over. And you can see we have 3 panels built, no issues at all. And so let's go ahead and restart our web server to republish the change, and then refresh our page. So now you can see our new buttons are here. As you can see, we made changes to the panel just as we would in Plex. No special code required at all for this. And so then we're going to I'll go ahead and call our map function, which doesn't really show a whole lot right now. We're going to fix that in a second. And the same thing for our video function. As you can see, all we see is the URL for our video feed. One cool thing about both these panels, though, they're using another web client pattern called Detail Pop-Up, and this allows you to have Plex panels show up on top of your existing applications. So it's a very cool template we have. And once again, all the code changes that you need you just need to add a triple to tell it that it's a detail pop-up. You do not need to recode your function in any way. So let's go ahead and add some controls to these, to map function and the video function. Web Client allows you to add things that would not normally be possible within Plex because we are working in a JavaScript environment. So what we're going to do is use some custom templates that we've already created to show the Google Map and to show the video stream. And so to interface with these, we need to go into our functions. So let's go into our Google Map function, and we'll highlight our edit control. And everything web client, anything custom web client is going to be done through this control name. And right now, all we have is 2 items. And basically what these items are is we have the name of our object, which is Gmap, and then the area of the screen that we want it to be rendered in. We say main area. And so I'm going to copy paste some code so you don't have to watch me type it. And we're going to change this control name. And as you can see, we added 2 things. We specified a template, and this is how you tell web client you want to use a custom template or a custom control with this object. And then we just add the text default, which tells web client that this custom control is going to use the same size and position aspects that we have set in Plex. So we'll go ahead and just save that, and then we'll do kind of the same thing for the video. And once again, same thing. We have our object name, the area in which we want to display in, the custom template that we're using, and then the default saying we want to keep the size and position. And so that is all you have to do to make these controls work with a custom template. So now all we have to do is regenerate these functions, refresh our Java project again to get it to build, and then restart our web server. So we'll refresh our web page again, and we'll go back to our camera function, and let's try the map again. As you can see, we now have a Google map that's positioning on a specific location that we can zoom in and out of, and just to prove that we're in the middle of Maryland, here we are. And then also for our video function, you can see we have a live traffic camera view. And actually, I'll give you a little bit better camera so you can actually see the cars a little better. There we go. So that's a pretty simple example of using custom controls. And so we'll do one more example. We're going to get our Twitter feed working as well. So let's go back into Plex, and we'll take our Twitter function. And once again, we just have very simple control names, so we'll need to add that to use the custom controls. Okay, and so this This custom template, the way it works is this field, whatever value we set it to, that is going to be the name of the that is going to be the Twitter account that we're going to be pulling up all the tweets from. So we need to set the code in Plex to set this field. So we're going to go into our action diagram. At the end of the initialize, we're going to set our Twitter feed. We're going to set it equal to a value we already have in our Plex model, Maryland traffic, and we're going to put Twitter feed. Let's go and save our changes. Regenerate. Refresh our our Java project, and restart our server. And let's look at this function again. As you can see, we now have the Twitter feed from Maryland traffic being loaded. And so these are examples of custom templates, but there's also some little extras that come by default with Web Client. With our grids, for example, we have the ability to toggle and rearrange columns in the grid. And that's very powerful, especially if you have users who have specific ways they like their screen to be and they want things to show up. And it's very easy to add these things to your functions. So we're going to go back into this grid function in Plex. And as you can see, just very simple control name. This actually comes by default in Plex, grid1p. But I'm going to expand upon that. So once again, I'm going to keep it named grid1p, which is fine. I'm going to tell it I want to keep it in the main area of the grid. And I'm going to add this option, column toggling equals yes. And this is what allows us to rearrange the columns however we want. And it's a very cool and powerful tool that, once again, takes no action diagram code to implement. So let's regenerate our grid. Let's refresh. And now you can see if I right-click the column headings, it brings up both columns with a checkbox. And if I want to hide the region, for example, all I have to do is uncheck this. If I want to bring it back, just check it again. If I would like region to appear first, I just need to drag it in front of camera. Or if I want camera back in front, I can drag it back. So that's a simple example, and this is a very simple workshop of some of the things that are possible within Web Client. But it's a very powerful tool that, because we use JavaScript, we can pretty much do anything that JavaScript is capable of doing. And your normal Plex panels, if you just want them to be available in a web environment, Web Client is very good at that. It can handle just about anything that Plex can throw out. So with actually little to no work on the Plex side. So I hope you enjoyed this workshop. We also have a mobile workshop available that you should try out, which uses our patterns, which are built upon Cinch a Touch, which is very, very cool. I encourage you to check that out, and thank you for listening.